Wow, it's quiet out there. Beautiful, but quiet. Strange times here in South Florida. Normally, these beaches are really, really packed with people. I see a couple folks out here, probably locals more than likely. The European tourists are not here. The business is not here that normally is. We're doing a very good business in precious metals, but of course, when people are nervous about what's going on out there, they buy more precious metals. But take a look at our beaches here. We're in Broward County, folks. We're in prime tourist area. This is usually high season for Canadians, German, French, and tourists that like to visit us this time of year. But take a look at the beach, and it's what, almost 10 o'clock or 10:30 or something like that. And it's just dead quiet out there. Albeit beautiful day, we got some cold fronts moving through. What is it, about 82 right now, as opposed to being 88 or 86, and with 72 degrees this morning, 73. So absolutely, we're getting back into our cooler season. Even more of a puzzle to me of why we are not seeing more people on the beaches. I think across the nation there's a general dismay. There's a general depression covering this entire country. And I don't think it's not just economically. I believe it's also psychologically. I think this country's suffering a depression psychologically and, again, economically, or soon to be, even worse. But be thankful for what you got, folks. Very beautiful out there. Again, take a look at that water. The waves were coming over the pier the other day. If you were watching the video, we're up to the top of the pier here and breaking offshore. And that was a result of the hurricane kind of heading north. The devastation created by that was just insane. I guess, hey, instead of moving into weather reports and local news and how bad the tourism is right now, let me tell you who I am. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals and ConciergeBullion.com. Who am I? I'm a precious metal dealer. Been doing this since 1977, second generation. I opened this place with Bob Lessie as my partner, a different name, but back in 1995. But I've been doing this a long time. Especially, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to be a physical dealer in precious metals. Trust me on that. But I know this business very well, know the players and all that good stuff, and run my two businesses, like I said, commercial rare coins and precious metals, which if you're on this pier and you walk this way, a couple blocks off the pier, you'll hit my business on the right-hand side. In fact, I'm here talking right now as this live video of the pier is going on. I'm looking down that way as well. Just quiet. The streets are quiet too. So yeah, that's who I am. I've been doing this a long time. Second generation dealer, rare coins, precious metals, paper money. I also own an estate business, Antiques and Jewelry by the Sea, that does obviously antiques and jewelry. So a little bit of everything here, but my specialty would be rare coins and precious metals. And again, precious metals, not that hard. Rare coins, whoo, that's a hard field to learn, folks. I can tell you that for sure. Beautiful day again, very quiet out there. Got some work to do on my cars. I got a couple race cars that I don't know if most of you know this, but I've been dabbling. I haven't raced them yet, but been putting together race cars forever now. It takes forever. If you watch those TV shows where they show you putting together a race car like in an hour, no, it doesn't happen, especially when you're working by yourself. But going to go do a little work on that today. And sorry about if I made some noise there. I was rubbing my hands all over the keyboard here. Might be annoying, but there you go. There's the beach cleanup crew right there going by. Nothing. Hey, let's get into precious metals. That's why you're here to listen, not here to talk about who I am, although I did a good job of that, or the weather, and I did a good job of that, or the economy and the general malaise that I think the whole country is suffering. And that's, and again, that would have been a better word to use, malaise, and just dismay and depression. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air. It just kind of exudes everywhere. I don't know if it's like that in the rest of the parts of the country, but here in South Florida, and again, South Florida opened up economically. We're doing way better than way better than the blue states, and way better than most and some of the red states out there as well. Florida's just doing well economically, and I am, even with me saying that, us doing well, I can see in the restaurants and the traffic and the tourism that something's really off right now, more so than even last year and past years as well. All right, here's my saying for the day by Carl Jung, which is thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. I saw that in the corner of my eye looking for quotes, and I said, my gosh, that is brilliant, because it is true. If you're not thinking, then you're mostly judging, all right, based on a narrative or an opinion that you've gotten from somewhere else. Because obviously, if you didn't think about it, it can't be your own opinion, right? This is what I talk about at the end of my videos all the time when I say think for yourself, question authority. And it's absolutely true. Thinking is difficult. And it is difficult. You know, a lot of times when it comes to, I mean, we do this in our lives on a daily, look, even with precious metals, it's tough to wrap your head around things that you're not familiar with, you know. So I get a lot of new folks coming in here wanting to buy precious metals. They don't know much about it. And it's easier to come in and ask me what, and there's some cases where you don't need to think about stuff like, you know, you don't need to think about how to do your own dental work. You don't need to think about how to fix your own car, providing that you can do it, you know, that you can pay for it to get done. Sometimes there's no need to think about certain things, you know, and I won't say judge. I guess making a judgment to find a good person to do it for you. But this kind of judgment that Carl Jung talks about, it's exactly what it is. Again, you're making assessments. You make assessments based on what your opinion and the narrative that you believe to be true is, all right? And this applies to precious metals in a big time way. And I'm going to tell you how. It's about those people out there that still can't get through their heads that they're not going to be bartering 90% coins and silver eagles for food from the local bread guy or with their neighbor for a chicken that he stole, all right? And if they thought through their premise on believing that kind of stuff, they wouldn't believe it, actually. You know, again, sometimes you got to question yourself before you question others. All right, and it applies to a lot of things in precious metals, that included, and the idea that you need to buy high-price premium things like silver eagles as well. And it applies to politics. You know, thinking is difficult. You want to believe what your favorite flavor politician tells you. You know what I mean? It's you know, again. You want to believe what they're telling you, and you want to trust them, because it is very difficult to think about politics and wrap your head around the legalities and the Constitution and all this other stuff. Even more so is your financial advice. You know, thinking is difficult when it comes to finances. Take a look at how, and the same thing with the law. Look how difficult those things are. It is almost like rocket science. Derivatives, all these things you need to know to understand how these markets work. It's almost purposely made difficult so you can't think for yourself, and so you have to get other people to think for you. But no less, I might be getting a little bit off. What am I saying? A little bit off of this quote right here. But thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. All right, I'm going to get into finally. You know what, though? Not finally. One of the reasons you listen to these videos, I hope, is that you like my banter here and we have fun with it, and you get someone else's opinion. And most of the time, a lot of you folks listening to me share the opinions that are close to me. I mean, that's how it works in life. That's how it works on YouTube. You usually find people that you like. Every YouTube talking head out there about gold, silver, platinum, news, you name it, whatever it is, has particular people that share similar viewpoints. That's why they listen to it. But you got to be careful of not painting yourself into an echo chamber, folks. This is why I'm thinking is very important, is you need to think outside the box. You also need to look at what you believe to be the truth, or introspection in a way. You need to be, you need to look into yourself and discover, am I doing this right? All right, you know, and again, that applies to your life, how you deal with people, and especially in investing. You know what I'm saying? Don't just rely on other people. Otherwise, you end up just being a judgmental dumbass. Okay. All right. Anyways. Spot prices, like we were talking about, most of you knew it yesterday. You guys follow these prices quite closely, but I'll talk about it anyway. 1662, it was up overall. Odd thing is stock market Dow Jones and the S&P were down, so those three things were in the red. Typically, gold for the last month or so has been following those markets. When they're in the red, gold's been in the red, but a reversal this week, this last week, something strange going on. Again, there's something strange brewing here. Maybe just this calmness that I feel, almost like, again, a malaise, depression, but It's just the calm before the storm. But no less when it comes to precious metals. I think we've seen near bottom. Now, does that mean that these crooked bastards in the comics can't knock this down further? Certainly does not. I'm surprised as hell. I was surprised out of my pants that they got it below 20 at one point. But again, once they started doing that, it just goes back to what I say all the time. Never underestimate a crooked market, a crooked marketplace. They can do whatever they want. You're not dealing with fundamentals when you're dealing with comics gold, comics silver, comics platinum, and who knows what other markets are crooks in as well. And the LBMA, all right? You can't expect fundamentals. You can't expect, and this is why I've stopped talking about the Fed. This is why I've stopped talking about Fed raising real rates, because it doesn't matter, what the Fed does. It doesn't. Gold is, again, there may be some correlations when you're seeing, the Fed starting to raise rates, and I am in the store. People are calling. Yes, I know. Sorry about that. But I don't talk about raising rates because it's irrelevant. If the COMEX was an honest marketplace and the LBMA and other markets like that were honest marketplaces that dealt with real fundamentals, then raising rates would really make me nervous if they were indeed positive real rates, not the bullshit real rates that we're told based on nonsense inflation reports that are off about probably double. But I digress, okay? If we were in a marketplace that was run by real fundamentals, then I probably would just continue talking about interest rates because they would make a difference. But, they don't. I'm telling you, this market's completely rigged. But meanwhile, don't let that stop you. If you don't play, you can't win. And the best way to win a game is know how it's rigged. And that's what we talk about, folks. 1904 silver, bopping off that $18 mark, moving into that $19 mark again. Have we seen bottom? Oh, boy, that's a tough call. I've talked about it a couple times here. I hate making short-term predictions in gold and silver markets. What I do know is that, if the manipulation continues with the price of silver, you will see these $5 ups and these $5 to $7 ups, maybe 10, and then hammering back down. And the same thing with gold. You'll see that continuing up and down motion. And what I tell you, that's how you make your money, is you're able to trade, you're able to buy the dips and maybe sell at the highs, but just hang on to the big highs, in my opinion. And that's what Ted Butler is talking about. We're going to see some big highs here soon. Platinum, a wonderful buy. Silver, a wonderful buy. Gold, a wonderful buy at these levels. But premiums are a little sucky. I'm going to talk about a couple things here. We're going to get into... I'm going to talk about the comments on videos. Get that done a little bit earlier than I normally do, and then we'll get into some newsy stuff. And what else do I got going on? Oh, what I do best, tell you what the best deals are. So this screen right here, here are those prices. And let's take a look here. So I was talking about bloodbath in Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ yesterday. And again, gold does show being down 1659. I'm not quite sure what price they're using, but again, barely down at all. And in fact, in some other spot markets, it's up slightly above that 1662, as you can see. I'm not quite sure where Seeking Alpha gets their closing prices on Friday. But gold about par or in the green slightly, and these markets in the red. But again, my view, when I watch gold prices every day and I look at these same screens every day, last month or two, or I can't tell you exactly when it started, but gold was moving in tandem downward with these three markets, and it's not now. What does gold have to do with those three markets? Nothing at all, folks. I'm telling you that when they do manipulate the price of gold down, especially gold, they will use Fed. They time it, all right? If you're going to knock down the price of gold in the COMEX markets, you got to have good timing. You can't just willy-nilly on a Tuesday when all markets are doing fine and no good reason just knock the price of gold. They've got to knock the price of gold, and that's how they spoof these markets, and that's how they cheat in these markets, and that's how they front run them. That's how they paint the tape. That's, you name it. That's how they do it, folks, during news events. They do it during, for example, again, every time the Fed speaks, if you watch my videos for the last 3 years, I've said every time the Fed spoke, they would hammer gold the night before or the day after. And yeah, like clockwork, you could count on that. No good reasons why gold and silver would get hammered, just, based on the threats of higher interest rates. Now, this is when they were just threatening higher interest rates, not doing it, okay? They would hammer the price of gold in the COMEX markets, spoof it and all that stuff. And again, you can't just spoof markets. If you're a cheating bastard like these big commercials are, you can't just spoof these markets for no reason. You got to give the other side, which would be the managed money, the longs, the idea that, oh, the Fed just spoke. That's why gold went down. Well, we better get out. Oh, we're getting near the 50-day moving average. So they spook out those positions, and that's how they make their money, the big commercials, collusively. Ted Butler talks about this, and again, I'm tired of talking about it, but it has nothing to do with real rates or anything like that. And that's the truth. Let's get into yesterday's video, which is gold and silver breaking past, Thursday's video. This is a Saturday morning wrap-up instead of a Friday night wrap-up. Coffee report, actually. Cheers to all you folks out there waking up on the West Coast and further. Thank you. Gold and silver breaking past highs, and close your eyes because it makes me dizzy sometimes doing this too. Going to answer a few questions that we've got down here in the comment section. Let's stay here. Living the Dream says, what highs? And then that was the correct answer there. Living the Dream, yeah, we had, it doesn't seem like it, and it's easy to forget based on the trashing that we've seen with precious metals this year, and actually with silver the last year and a half, couple years, all right, with silver. But especially with gold. Gold kind of held its own for a long time, and I've always said where gold goes, silver goes, and I believe that the trashing of gold really could be two things, is that they're trying to trash gold to keep the silver price down so they can accumulate all the silver that they possibly can, and or it's also possible that, remember, the Russia's de-dollarizing. China is going to de-dollarize at some point. The BRICS countries are going to de-dollarize. And what do they own the most of? Gold. So why wouldn't the powers to be, the Federal Reserve and or the Treasury and or the Plunge Protection Team, which is the presidential's working group, why wouldn't they collusively get together and say, hey, listen, we can't allow that to happen. Therefore, we're going to drive the price of gold down. We're going to allow these big commercial banks and help them drive the price of gold down. Now, that's a conspiracy on my part, but man, I've got to tell you, out of the 10 conspiracies that I've been blabbing about for the last 3 or 4 years, probably at least 8 of them turned out to be true. 2 or a couple of them still not proven. All right, so I may not be wrong on that, or at least the and or part. Living the Dream, what highs? March 8th, 2022, this last year, 2080 was the high for gold. And you're like, oh, that's right, it was. Gold did make a high this year. Everyone seems to forget that. But silver, no. Gold has made a high 3 times in the last, since 2000, or since 1980. Gold's been, made its all-time high once, twice, 3 times, at least 3 times, or 4. 3 times already in these cycles. And silver, only twice, 1980 and 2011, 2012. That's it. Silver hasn't had its 3rd time like gold has. And poor platinum, unloved platinum. That's why I like that metal. You buy shit when it's unloved, especially shit that's got a 5,000-year track record. Helen Kester says, I remember you had to go out 3 miles to fish. Yep. The inside, there's so many people down here, and there's so many fishing boats, and there's so much pressure on the fish here that it's really tough to catch any fish down here in South Florida. I got to be honest with you, I haven't been out in a while on my boat. It just got so frustrating. Not to mention everybody and their brother from the northern states moved down here, had to buy a boat. So not to knock them. Florida's a beautiful place to live, but it's just frickin' crowded right now. And again, especially when it comes to boating and fishing. The Critter 19 gave a lot of people some free time, and they had additional money. They went and bought boats and stuff, and they just, God, most of them can't drive the fucking things either. Oh, trying to get out through the inlets and driving around, people driving over your lines. Anyways, I digress. Thanks for bringing it up. If you know how to fish, you can still go out there and catch fish. There's no doubt about that. But it ain't like it was when I was a kid, that's for sure. 1,000 Silver says, LOL, highs, wishful thinking. Central banks are just mocking us. They'll give us gold and silver a good kick in the teeth soon, bashing back to the new normal. If you believe the conspiracy that I just kind of brought up, that the central banks are purposely trying to keep the price of gold down, using the commercials, the commercials don't mind doing it because it helps keep the price of silver down as well, and they can make money keeping the price of gold down. if they have help with the Federal Reserve Central Bank system, and they have help with the plunge protection team and the Treasury Department, yeah, they could knock the price of gold down. I'm wondering what GATA.org has been saying about the Bank of International Settlements and that kind of thing with their swaps and their leases and golds. There's another whole angle to how gold is manipulated. But yeah, you know what? Let them manipulate it down. It's, for example, say for example that they were able to manipulate the price of gas down, and they don't, because we depend on gas in a whole different way. But gasoline and oil down to the price where it was like $1 a gallon or 50 cents a gallon. And imagine all of a sudden that they were able to manipulate, and this is what they do in gold and silver markets, they were able to manipulate the price of gold and silver down, gas down for so long that so many people just kept using gas and buying gas and storing gas, that the above ground gas supply, despite what the markets were doing, shorting, keeping the price of gas down, despite what the markets were doing, the crooked markets were doing, became such a huge shortage of gas out there. What would happen then? All right. Eventually, the marketplace breaks, because they have to have some form or some semblance of reality, which means physical product on hand, gasoline, silver, in order to maintain their crooked ass schemes. All right. So now they can't do it with the gas, folks, and I'm sure they do to some level. They do go out and play gas markets down. That's why America's lived off cheap gas prices for so long, manipulated markets, I'm sure. That's why we've done so well. But when it comes to gold and silver markets, especially silver markets, it's so freaking crooked. Yep, absolutely. I'm going to get into the whole market manipulation thing that we've talked about 100 times over, so I'm going to move along here, 1,000 Silver. Thank you. Keep stacking, keep hanging on, and don't get disappointed. Things will change for you. Stephen W. says, awesome article from Ted Butler. I have got to tell you, Ted Butler just does awesome articles. I mean, here's a man that's been doing he's been a physical trader. He's a physical trader. He's been a trader in precious metals. He can read COT reports like we can read children's books. Okay, he can extrapolate data that most people don't, and he's absolutely proven how crooked these markets are. He's the guy out there writing letters to the CFTC. He's writing letters to legislators, into the oh gosh, I'm sorry. Oh God, the crooks, the Comex CME group crooks. All right, and they don't respond anymore. Even they don't, and they've never sued him, and they've never said, Ted, you're wrong, you're being slanderous. You know why? Because they can't. So they don't respond, or they ignore it, or they try to sidetrack it. But anyway, Ted Butler is the man when it comes to explaining how silver manipulation is done, and explaining it correctly. Okay. The nickel default, absolutely. That's one of the things that Mr. Butler brought up before most people did, is that the fall of gold and silver, March 8th, started during the nickel default. So I think there's some crazy shit going on with the gold and silver in the background with the COMEX markets. Maybe the CME group is finally saying to these short positions, listen, you guys got to stop. We're going to break these markets, and we can't afford a nickel-type accident in our silver market here. And the CFTC, the governing agency, completely fucking worthless, all right? Absolutely worthless, like most government agencies. Remember the government agencies that were supposed to take care of Bernie Madoff? Ha! Absolutely fucking worthless. And they ain't no better when it comes to any other markets, folks. When they do finally get a conviction, it's only because it was so glaringly in their fucking faces that if they didn't do something, they would have obviously made it look like they were the morons that they really are. All right, but I move along here. Where we go. Salute and cheers to all stackers. Joey, insurance claims will be astronomical in Fort Myers alone. Glad I brought the recent. Ooh, yeah. Who knows, right? Exactly. There we go. Let me see. Sorry about that. I didn't turn off that one phone line. I turned the other 3 phone lines off, but not that one. Keep buying the dip. Absolutely, Eli. Tree Climber says, Brian, good info as always. You, Andy Scheckman, Kiosk. I don't know who. Bix and Ted Butler. Robert Keynes. Thank you. I appreciate you putting me up there with all those admirable, fine people. Thank you very much, Tree Climber. You have a nice weekend. Mark Hall. Glad I'm. Mark. When I say I'm good at what I do, am I good at extrapolate, or digesting news events? I'm going to get into news here in a little bit if you guys want to stick through that. But Maybe not. Am I good at reading COT reports like Ted Butler? Not at all. Am I good at understanding the intricacies of the derivatives markets? No. Maybe better than some, but no. What I am good at is physical. I know what are good deals out there and what are not good deals when it comes to gold and silver and platinum, and I'm going to get into that in a moment. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate that. BS Detective says, "What a game, dude." The whole world is rigged. Everything is rigged around you, from economies to what else? To economies to I was gonna say politics, elections, you name it. It's all rigged, folks. All of it. It's all a big game. Demon says, "Glad you're doing well. So you know, I like your digressions." Thank you. I do tend to digress. And I was about to right now. So thanks, Demon. I appreciate it. Temp or Airy, what the F, man? Ooh, you like throwing out the F-bombs, too. Market goes down, gold silver update last Monday. Both dropped together, had head scratching, making me bold. Temporary, again, if we were, you would be justified in beating yourself up if it was markets run by real fundamentals. So would I. I would be justified in saying, "Oh, Brian, you're an idiot. You got this wrong. You said you didn't think it was going to go below 20, But I always believed, and I said then, and I still say to this day, these markets are rigged. And you think that sometimes they look like they're running off fundamentals, like when the Fed speaks, they're raising real rates. But when you look further, they're not. They're rigged, folks. And the only time, again, they move these markets during those type of events to make it look like they're working on real fundamentals, but they are not. They're completely, entirely rigged, okay? Oh boy, head scratching. Yeah, so don't worry. It's hard to figure out what these crooks do. My chart guy, I miss him. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but chart guy was talking about silver was going to explode up to that $50 or double, triple mark or whatever it was. And he gave me the charts. Everything made look sense. And I keep asking chart guy. I said, "Well, chart guy, what if the what if the data that's fed into the chart is manipulated?" I still believe that's true. So I mean, and again, the fundamentals and the charts for gold and silver would tell you that we should be at double gold, double silver or more, triple silver, but no. And you know why? Because these markets are freaking rigged. And again, don't get afraid of that. It's like rigging the gasoline market. You have to look at it as a gift and say, "Wow, they're giving me this shit almost for free. All right, I'm going to buy all I can," especially gold and silver. Gold and silver is money. You don't put it in your gas tank. It's money. It has been for 5,000 years, as well as platinum. And thanks, Temporary. You have a nice day. Michael, yeah, coffee day, man. Sip to you. And a bunch of, I guess I'm missing that kind of, what is that? Okay, I can't be too smart. I'm not good at these pictures and everything. You know it, I know it, everyone knows it. Anyway, thanks for commenting either way, Bradley, whether you're pro or con or whatever. Bunch of cock and lollipop? Never ask me to be on your team when it comes to games that are like this, for sure. Bradley, thanks. Have a nice weekend. And let's move into what are the best deals, the thing that I do better than anyone else. Let me first tell you what are not good deals. And in fact, Silver Eagles, horrible deal. Love the product, buy American. I'm a patriotic kind of guy, but the prices are horrible. The premiums are horrible. Obviously, I think the big whale is out there. And if it's not the big whale, it's another big whale. Or people speculating. But there is the Silver Eagle prices are crazy, so are 90%. And if we just take the logic that Mr. Schechtman brought up, that the whale was going to start buying again, now we got to take it at its face value that's why these prices are so high. And again, I've got a question. Why would this whale buy Eagles? Why would they buy overpriced Eagles, overpriced 90%, as opposed to 1,000-ounce bars or something like that? Now, there has been a big run on 100-ounce bars. Maybe they're smart. Maybe there's not enough Silver Eagles out there, enough not 90% for them to fill this order. If this is indeed a new order causing these high premiums, maybe they're starting to fill it with hundreds because they know they need to. However, that would be the smart move, is, again, buying hundreds and 1,000-ounce bars. If a multi-millionaire comes to me and multi-billionaire comes to me and said, "Brian, I want to spend, million, 10 million, 25, $100 million with you," the last place I'd put them in would be gold Eagles, Silver Eagles, or 90%. All right. I just wouldn't put them in that. I would put them in. I'd buy some, of course. You know, if you're spending that kind of money, you put them into $1 million worth of rounds or something like that, or Silver Eagles maybe, and then you spend the rest in 1,000-ounce bars, 100-ounce bars, whatever is the cheapest, most reliable form to buy it in, and that's how you stockpile it for someone that's buying that value. You don't shit can them full of this stuff. That's just my opinion. Again, sheerly my opinion. I may not know all the facts of these kind of deals that go on, but again, if you're doing your customer service, even on a small deal, if I'm doing my customers right, I am not putting them into Silver Eagles right now. If you're doing your customer service as a precious metal dealer, you're not buying Silver Eagles for your customer. You're not buying 90% for your customers. You're not buying shiny shit for your customers that's priced at ridiculous premiums. What are you trying to sell them? Well, let me get into that. This is what I do best. Right now, the best deal out there is, if you can find them, folks, and they're getting a little tight, is 100-ounce silver bars. I'm going to have to take a look at the sheet, but here, let's take a look at what they're getting for them. I'm going to give SD Bullion some love. You know, I've been giving SD Bullion, and a lot of people say, Brian, why do you throw up competitors or competitors' screens and show everybody what they're selling for? Well, I tell you why I do it, because number one, I respect these competitors I talked about. I respect SD Bullion, Atmex, JM. I respect Miles Franklin, but I can beat their prices, and what a better way to show it than by actually showing you what they're selling them for. In SD Bullion, when it comes to all these guys, their prices have been great, even though JM Bullion, I think, is a bigger, more powerful company. They just haven't been beating the prices of SD, although I'll check again. All right, so I will beat their prices. I respect them, and I got to show you. I got to show proofs in the pudding. Let's take a look at 100-ounce silver bars, 2311. Now, one thing confuses me is that take a look at, by the way, I got to give some love to Certified Coin Exchange for their spot prices, their static pages. That's who we use. CCE, I've been with them for 40, my father started with them back in the 70s on the old teletype system. So I've been with CCE forever. Certified Coin Exchange, that's who that is. And they run the coin, this right here, CC Certified Coin Exchange. This is where all the dealers get around and they talk with each other and buy and sell, including SD Bullion, JM, and the other guys out there too. I sell them stuff on this system. But I love the spot prices, and I got to give this company a lot of credit for maintaining this system the way they do, CCE. If you're a dealer, you need to be on the system. That's my opinion. And but again, it's not cheap either. So their prices, CCE prices here, and again, I like the static page because it doesn't move, even though it is a Saturday report. We wouldn't see any movement on other pages. Low is 1660, 1675. And where I was going with that? Oh, I know where I was going with that. I started to repeat this whole show again. Oh, boy. Too much coffee? I don't know. All right. Well, what I was saying is 1904 is what I'm showing for a spot price. And oftentimes it confuses us, and we're competitive with these companies, but people come and say, hey, Brian, your price is off. And I say, no, it's not. Actually, SD, JM, and those other companies, for some reason, hedge their prices by, like, what is that? Oh, man, that's like 15 cents. Hang on. 1904 is a closed price. Even if we use an ask price in 1907, that puts us at 1905. Man, it's probably a 10 to 15% higher on SD Bullion. And again, if I look at JM and Atmex, they also price silver higher as well. Confuses me why they do that. Maybe just to appear more competitive. But their prices are still good, and I'll still beat them. 2311 100-ounce bars, I think, are still the best deal out there. Let me do the math. 23. And that's $23.11 per ounce, and they're showing spot at 1923. Let's use the real spot and see what they're. Let's just use 1910 as a spot price. All right. So in reality, 100-ounce bars are a spot plus $4 right now. Generic bars, I can beat that pretty easily, depending on the quantity that you're buying, and so should your local dealer as well. If you can't, again, if you live in South Florida, come and see us here, because I can definitely beat their prices and the local prices. If you don't live in South Florida and you're buying more than 100 ounces of, more than 1,000 ounces of, 100 ounces of gold and 2,500 ounces of silver, call me at conciergebullion.com. We do ship, and we do business on the phone as well. But here, I can beat that price pretty handily. They're at spot plus $4. I believe I can beat that again. Give us a call here or come into the store. What else is a good deal out there? Valcombi hundreds, They're a little bit higher, I think, 2311 versus 2361. I like the Balcombi product, but I wouldn't pay the extra if I could get the generic type silver bars. And what else is the next best deal? Kilos. What are they getting for kilos? Let me take a look. Swiss kilos, they're as low as, all right, 778.55 divided by 32.15. That's how many ounces are in a kilo. Troy. So they're at 24.21 per ounce. Holy crap, I can beat the crap out of that price too as well on SD Bullion. I'm telling you, it's not SD Bullion's fault that this stuff has gone up. They sell a tremendous amount of stuff. What's really happening is that there's more people buying, and they're having a hard time sourcing the large monster that they've created. Okay, this is why you're seeing a lot of sold out. This is why you're seeing higher prices with SD. I don't do the sales volume, and small shop like myself, powerful but small. We don't do the volume that they do, but they got a monster to feed, and I think when you see higher premiums like this, it's pretty obvious that they're having a hard time feeding that monster. 24.21. What does that come out to if we use the real silver price of 19.10? Again, I could use their price up here at 19.23, but that's 15 cents higher. I think that throws everything off. Oh my God, they're $5 over, folks. Again, I don't care where you live as of right now, anywhere in the country, as long as you're buying more than 2,500 ounces of silver, I can sell you kilos way cheaper than these guys. And again, I advertise to beat Atmex, SD Bullion, JM Bullion, and Miles Franklin. All wonderful companies, all above board companies. Again, like I said, I'm just competitive. And that's the way I should be. That's the way it should be in a free market situation, a free market capitalist, market where guys like myself can compete against the big guys, as maybe your local shop hopefully does as well. All right, silver. So I've told you what the best deals. 10 ounces are even worse with SD. 1 ounces are even worse. But again, folks, I have them. I can get you a much cheaper price than any of the guys out there. So definitely check with me when it comes to this stuff. Now, as far as, oh, someone's trying to get in the store too. I don't think they realize I'm closed. As far as, don't mind if I get distracted a little bit, because I'm sure they're going to come here and wave at me through the window. They're not going to realize I'm doing a video. All right. As far as Silver Eagles, I mentioned it this last week. The premiums are so high, folks, that if you live in South Florida or you want to come and visit me at Commercial Rare Coins, we can trade. And I don't even have Silver Eagles here, hardly any. I've been getting rid of them. I've been selling to dealers, because I refuse to sell them to retail people unless they just demand them, because they're too much money. So if you bring me in Silver Eagles, I will trade you your Silver Eagles for more generic ounces of silver. So you could walk out of here, say for example, if you had 1,000 ounces in Silver Eagles, you could probably walk out with 12, 13, I don't even know how much, but you could walk out with a couple hundred ounces or more of silver bars. More silver, less premium, better deal, okay? Because these premiums will disappear at some time when this whale goes away again, or permanently. And once the market of silver starts going up, when silver starts flying and it's going crazy, some crazy number, $100 an ounce, who knows what that crazy number may look like in this world. And everyone's selling, because it will bubble. All markets bubble. It bubbles at some point. You'll be standing in line with your Silver Eagles getting about the same price as the guy with the kilo bars is. Trust me, seen it happen back in 1980, seen it happen in 2012. Premiums just disappeared. The guy that had the generic Buffaloes got as much as the guy that had the Silver Eagles. Close, almost. All right, so it ain't worth the premium, folks. It ain't worth holding on to. As far as gold goes, again, I advertise to beat Atmex, SD, Atmex, JD, I'm getting confused, and Miles Franklin. I beat all those guys, respectable companies in gold. Eagle prices, gold American Buffaloes were cheaper than Eagles. They are not anymore. They're getting close to that $200 premium, which tells me freaking gold is tightening up as well. Unusual. There's always seems to be enough above ground gold supply out there, unlike silver. When I say available supply, I don't mean all the silver and gold that exist above ground. What I mean is available for sale. And the available gold for sale is getting slimmer and slimmer as well, folks. Premiums are almost $200 on Buffaloes and Eagles. Again, I'll beat the prices of the big majors out there pretty easily, and my local, the locals down here. Best deals are still gold bars, I believe, at spot plus $74 or less. Even those are getting harder to source. There's something going on. There's something boiling below the surface. And let's take a look. 11 o'clock, a few more people on the beach. Here's a good indication of how bad the economy globally is going to be. Where are the tourists? Where are the aware of a lot of things, actually. All right, gave you the best deals out there, folks. And again, if you live in South Florida, come by and see us 10 to 4 Mondays through Fridays, brick and mortar. We can help you get your best deal on gold, silver, and platinum. And if you don't live in South Florida and you're buying more than 100 ounces of gold, more than 2,500 ounces of silver, call me at conciergebullion.com. I'll give you all the details at the end of this video as well. I haven't talked about news for a while because news is depressing, and I'm trying to get, it's hard. I can't imagine that if you're in the news business that you don't get depressed at times. Can you imagine just every day looking at sad bullshit? You know what I mean? I don't know how they deal with it. I do it just willingly to some degree, and at some point it just depresses the shit out of you. Maybe that's the general malaise of the whole country right now as a result of this. I tell you what got me a little bit depressed today, and I saw this article right here about what's going on in Ukraine right now, and here it is. Over the past several months, reports folks, war is bad. And nobody's really talking much about this war. Not half the country, I'd say 80% or 90% of this country has been bamboozled in thinking that this war is a righteous, good thing to do, when in fact, really, there's a lot of sleazy shit going on in this Ukraine war right now. A lot of bad, sleazy shit, and we're involved with it, folks. But no less, this even follow the money, follow the money. What have I said for a long time? What have you heard me completely repeat over and over? Eisenhower's speech about the military-industrial complex. Well, here we go. Over the past several months, reports have surfaced of this particular moron's extensive use of the PDA has depleted American weapons stockpiles, which is grind. I'm fine with I don't want to deplete weapons by actually having someone else use them to kill people's brothers, sisters, mothers, and loved ones. I'd rather deplete them by putting them in the bottom of the ocean, but no less, depletion is good. But here, in response, this particular place right here, the House of Morons, has started working with weapons industry to increase the production of several systems. A House of Morons official recently told the leaders of the arms trade that the Ruskies would produce a windfall of new clients. Get that, folks. This is the big one. A White House official recently told leaders of the military-industrial complex that this particular war that they created would produce a windfall of new clients and revenue. Follow the frickin' money. Ike said it best, the military-industrial complex. Folks, if there is any great time to be anti-war, even though we're not directly into this war yet, maybe we will be soon because of midterms. It's a great distraction, or maybe before the election, because that's a great distraction too. Do presidents get changed in the middle of wars? I don't know. Don't know that history, but maybe there's a lot of there is a lot of sleazy shit behind this, and it's the sleazy shit is created by the House of Morons. All right. Ooh. We are now working in the industry to increase production of weapons and ammunition. What is the increase of weapon? That means that these particular companies like this company, Lockheed Martin and others, will make fortunes off the misery and death of others. Same old shit, different decade. CNBC reports the U.S. has essentially run out of 150 millimeter howitzers to transfer. The current production capacity for also falls short of the ways suppliers can't currently produce 30,000 per year, and this particular poor people that have been suckered into this war uses them in 2 weeks. Scary shit, folks. Again, what does this have to do with the price of gold and silver? Well, I tell you, when this shit gets worse and it's causing issues with gasoline and cold wars, it's good for the price of gold and silver. It is good for the price of gold and silver and platinum. And God forbid we get a black swan event that's major and causes a lot of deaths, even better. So these people are actually helping making gold and silver and platinum more rare by their idiocy in the House of Morons. But here, let me move along there. Let's just take a look and see if there's any other news I can talk about. Boy, a long report today. Here, I'm going to just go over some of this right here. Short stocks until Halloween, then brace for the rally. Well, I think there is some truth. Well, maybe when the stock market that may be true, but when it comes to precious metals, no, doesn't matter. Those markets are manipulated. They won't stop until the physical dries up. And folks, I think that's where we're at with precious metals. But meanwhile, maybe stocks will blow up when the Fed turns around. That's a good possibility too. Credit stress is critical. That's something serious to be looking at. Again, black swan, good for the price of gold, silver, and platinum. And so is that good for the price of gold, silver, and platinum because energy gets more expensive. Oil, gold, and silver, typically, especially gold, follows the price of oil. And we're going up, 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 and away in our beautiful balloon to the sky with oil at some point because of decisions made in Europe, decisions made over this particular country right here to fuel that war, to fuel more death and destruction, to fuel the military-industrial complex at the expense of real people and at the expense of American dollars, expense of the middle class, the expense of the poor. All right, nothing good there, but good for the price of gold and silver. That's also good for the price of gold and silver because where do you think that a lot of Brits will go when they start to see in fact, the Brits are actually in pounds, in British sterling pounds, the gold is way up. Gold is way up, which tells you that, again, depends on the fiat currencies as well. But gold is up in pounds. That's because their country's going to shit because of the morons that they got working for them in the parliament. Oh boy, nothing good there. That's just more war. Good for the gold and silver prices. Of course, we talked about this. This is what I just talked about here a few minutes ago. Just plain sad. Raping the United States at the expense of Ukrainian blood and people and Russian blood and people. This is what the United States does best. We do color revolutions and then we make our military-industrial complex richer and richer and richer. And all the crooked bastards that are probably invested with that, like this crooked bastard, get richer and richer too. Crooked, senile bastard. And Mox Britain currency blow up his lira. Yep, nothing good here. Oh, Tom Luongo, I like his stuff. He's really good. Recommend you read his stuff. And you know what? I'm going to get out of here, folks, because, man, there's nothing interesting. Look at that. Oh, yeah, they just don't want to hear it. They don't like the truth, folks. And you know why? Because thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. And that's why you get thrown off these social networks is because of judgment, not of thinking. All right, well, that's it. I'm going to call it quits here. As I say, speaking of thinking, think for yourself, question authority. Most of all, think for yourself, because if you don't do that, don't question what you think you know to be the truth. You don't question your opinion, your narrative. And remember, it's not always your own. It's something that you inherited or learned from someone else. Then it makes it much harder to question others and makes it harder to think for yourself. So think for yourself first. Introspection, as I mentioned earlier, and stop judging. Think more. Hey, that's it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, our brick and mortar here in South Florida, in Lauderdale by the Sea. And who else am I? ConciergeBullion.com. If you live anywhere in the continental United States and you're buying more than 100 ounces gold, more than 2,500 ounces silver, we are your peoples. We'll beat the biggies out there, JM, Atmex, SD, and Miles Franklin. And we're good at what we do too. And so are they, but I'm going to be better. Hey, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now. Oh, shout out to all my Wall Street silver folks, and where do we go? That's my page right there. Shout out to all you folks there for making it happen. Keep stacking, brothers. Talk to you Monday.